Hello my fellow book friends and or Harry Potter fans. Today is a very special day, a very special video. I'm going to do things a little different. It is a Harry Potter special and I want to talk about the first two books or movies in the series and tell you about some fun facts and compare the two, tell you what's different. And yeah, that's the plan. I can tell you, and I said this before, that it might be the best video I've done yet. It might be the worst one, but either way, it was a lot of work and I just really hope you enjoy it. I had fun recording this, so hope you have as much fun as I had. So first I have a confession to make, because I only had 5 of the Harry Potter novels. I didn't have the complete series, I know, shame on me. But for this video, I thought I'd go out and complete my series. So instead of going to a regular bookstore, I went to the Harry Potter store here in New York City. It's a big store that's just so cute. It has all the books, it has all the merchandise you can think of, and it's just beautiful. If you're a fan and planning on going to New York City or you live here, please stop by. This is not an ad, I just thought it was a great store, and I'll show you some of my impressions in a short clip. So those were the impressions from the store. I hope you liked them, but let's get started with this video. So I want to talk about the first two books. The first one being Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, which, by the way, most of you may know, in England is called Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. It was changed by the publishing houses in America because they felt like American kids wouldn't read books that contain the word philosopher in the title, which I don't know what that tells us, but I find that quite hilarious. Anyways, some other fun fact that you may not know is J.K. Rowling is obviously the author's name, but her actual name is Joanne Rowling. She does not have a middle name, and just like with the American publishing houses, her publishing house asked her to change her name and pick a middle initial so they can put JK instead of her first name on it. They did that because they thought that the target audience for which the books were initially intended, being young boys, wouldn't read a book that's written by a woman. So they're kind of hiding the fact that she is a woman, which, yeah, was a fact I also wasn't aware of before diving deeper into this topic. So let's get started. I'm gonna go over the differences between the book and the movie now, and I made this little list because there are quite a few, so I don't forget any. So there are a lot of differences, obviously, when a book gets adapted, and there are smaller changes, like, for example, the Dursleys in the book have blonde hair, in the movie they have black hair, but I want to focus on the main ones, or the ones that I thought were most interesting. So first of all, I should say, maybe before I start, that if you haven't read these books, you're here now, you should stop right now and do something else, move on to another video, because this is really for people that know the book, that know the story. I'm not gonna give a whole lot of background. I'm just gonna assume that you know everything, and I'm just gonna give you, from my point of view, the interesting differences between movie and book. So, one of the first ones is Mrs. Figs, that's the neighbor of the Dursleys. She is mentioned, I think it's the 5th or the 6th book. She's in the movie there where Harry gets attacked by the Death Eaters and has to defend himself, and she's going to the Ministry of Magic to make a statement that it was self-defense when he used magic. Anyways, that woman in the first movie, she doesn't have an appearance, but in the book she's mentioned. And she is actually the babysitter, if you want to say, of Harry. So the Dursleys always drop him off at her house. I thought that was neat that she was already mentioned in this book, but not in the movie yet. Then we soon, find out about Hogwarts as the story starts, and we meet Hagrid. Hagrid is a character that we learned in the second movie was expelled from Hogwarts and has lost or isn't allowed to use magic. His wand was broken in 2 pieces when he was expelled. And when Hagrid comes to visit Harry in the first book, in the first movie, to tell him that he is admitted to Hogwarts, the School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, he is there with an umbrella. And if you remember, he uses it, for example, to light the fire or to put a pigtail on Dudley Dursley when he's misbehaving. So technically he's not allowed to use magic, so you wonder why. It's actually that his wand from back when he was a student is in that umbrella. They're hinting at it in the book. It's in the umbrella, and that's why he can perform some magic with it. All right, then Harry gets into Hogwarts. He has to get all kinds of supplies before going to school. Hagrid takes him to Diagon Alley. It's the same in the book and in the movie, but in the book we see the list of books that he has to pick up for his first school year, and one of the books is Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. And if you're a Harry Potter fan, you know the Harry Potter universe has brought in forth some other movies under that title. So I thought that was neat too. Now, we are coming to Hogwarts. Harry is being sorted into the House of Gryffindor, so are Hermione and Ron, and Dumbledore gives his speech. He talks about how it's forbidden to go into the forest, how it's dangerous to go to the 3rd floor, and if you do, you will die a horrible death. The difference is that in the movie, Dumbledore seems a lot more wiser and more serious, and in the book he's a lot quirkier. He's like a weird character who sometimes says odd things. So for example, let me find this. He talks a lot of nonsense sometimes, and when greeting the students to Hogwarts, this is something he says in the book. He doesn't do it in the movie, which is, "Welcome," he said. "Welcome to a new year at Hogwarts. Before we begin our banquet, I would like to say a few words. And here they are. Nitwit, Blubber, Oddmond, Tweak. Thank you." So, you don't hear that in the movies, but yeah, Dumbledore is a very odd character. Okay, Then there is there's a distinction, which is when it comes to the castle. So in the movie, we have the staircases that are moving, and it plays a significant role because of those moving staircases. Harry and his friends end up one day accidentally on the 3rd floor that's forbidden, where they see the 3-headed dog. That's how it is in the movie. In the book, the staircases don't move, or at least it's not really mentioned. And the way they end up in the book with the 3-headed dog, with the encounter, is that Malfoy asks Harry for a duel and asks them to come to the trophy room to duel him at night. And he tells it's just a trap. So he sets it up. He wants Harry to go there and tells Filch that Harry will be there and to catch him basically out of bed at night. So when Harry realizes, oh, this is a trap, and here's Filch coming, then they go into the room where they find the 3-headed dog. One interesting fact about Quidditch rules that I didn't gather from the movie is, so in the movie it's pretty clear that when you catch the snitch, the game is over. That's when you won. But I didn't know, which is clarified in the book, that the game doesn't end until you catch the snitch. So if you don't catch it, the game will go on forever. And it can go on for days. That's something I didn't know. All right, then this is something you may have heard, that Ron in the movie is portrayed sometimes as dumb, for comedic relief. He's not always about his wits, and in the book that's different. Ron is a smarter character, a braver character than he is in the movie. Then we have the Mirror of Erise, which is a section in the movie where Harry finds this magical mirror that allows him to see his parents. He sees his mother and his father. In the book, however, he doesn't just see his mother and father, he sees his entire family, all of them. Another character that is not portrayed in the movies at all is Peeves, the poltergeist. So he lives in the castle and he makes everybody's life miserable, as poltergeists do. And he appears in a bunch of scenes in the book, but not at all in the movie. They just cut the character completely. Now, finally, Harry and Ron and Hermione are going down to the chamber where the Sorcerer's Stone is, because they fear that Snape, at that time, which later turns out Quirrell, is going to steal it. And you remember they have to go through different tasks to eventually get to the room where the stone is. And there's a bunch of differences here. So first of all, the first task is with the sleeping dog. In the movie, there's a harp playing from Quirrell, who went down that path before them, and this harp makes the dog sleep. In the book, Harry is playing a flute to make the dog go to sleep, so they can access the trapdoor he's guarding. And third, in the room with the flying keys, it's not just Harry in the book, it's all 3 of them that mount the broomsticks and go chase after the key. Also, the keys don't attack them as they do in the movie. Then at the chess set, Ron is being left behind by Harry and Hermione in the book. In the movie, Hermione stays with him and only Harry continues, but here both Harry and Hermione leave Ron. And they go further where there are 2 more tasks. The next is, so this is not in the movie at all, the next is a troll, which they have to defeat. But the troll is already defeated by Quirrell, so there's not much to do. But in the next room, there is a logic riddle involving potions. And of course, Hermione, being a smart witch, solves the riddle, but there's only one potion that allows them to go to the next room. So Harry takes the potion, and this is where they separate. This is where Hermione goes back to Ron. So Harry is now in the chamber where the Sorcerer's Stone is, and he finds out that it's not Snape who has been behind all this, but Quirrell and Voldemort, who has possessed Quirrell. So what's different in the movie is that in the book, Harry and Quirrell actually talk a lot longer, and Quirrell tells Harry that Snape doesn't like him because of his father, because they went to school together and they loathed each other. We never get that explanation in the movie. The rest is the same. Harry gets the stone, and the fight starts between him and Quirrell. However, In the movie, Harry defeats Quirrell by himself. In the book, he passes out and wakes up in the hospital room where there's Dumbledore, and Dumbledore tells Harry that he came back just in time and basically pulled Quirrell off of him as he was about to kill him. So that's the difference in the book and the movie. In the movie, Harry defeated Quirrell all by himself, and in the book, Dumbledore arrived in time and helped him. Also, Dumbledore explains that Snape has actually been helping Harry all through the year because Quirrell has tried to hurt him multiple times, and Snape was always helping by, for example, mumbling counter curses or other things. And he says that that's because Harry's dad saved Snape at some point, and so Snape feels like he's indebted and has been helping Harry to get rid of this debt. So this is something we never hear about in the movies. In the movies, it's Snape is helping Harry because I think he was in love with his mother, and I prefer that explanation over the one in the book with Harry's father having saved his life. Anyways, it's at the end of the movie, and of course, as always, Dumbledore gives all kinds of points to Gryffindor, so they win the House Cup. And let me tell you, there are like so many great memes out there. So just look them up. They're just hilarious, with Dumbledore always basically giving Gryffindor all the points. Yeah, and the book ends with Uncle Vernon picking Harry up from the train station in the book, and in the movie it's at the train station where they just say goodbye to Hagrid and get on the train. So those were the differences. Some other fun facts that I want to mention is in the movie all the actors are British and Irish, which is at the request of Joanne Rowling. She wanted all the actors to be British and Irish. Also, the first scene that they ever filmed in the whole Harry Potter universe was that last goodbye scene at the train station by Hogwarts. That was the first scene they ever filmed, and so that was the beginning of 10 years of filming, which is pretty crazy. They actually wanted Hermione to wear fake teeth because in the book Hermione has like an overbite, and also they wanted Harry to wear green contact lenses because also in the book his eyes are green, but they found out that that wasn't feasible. Hermione couldn't really talk with them, and Harry had troubles with the contact lenses, so they didn't go through with that, but that was something they intended to do. Then the thing that I find craziest is initially Steven Spielberg was negotiating to direct the film, and he wanted to make Harry Potter an animated film. So can you believe that? Can you imagine Harry Potter being an animation film and not with real actors? I cannot, so I'm happy it is how it is. Yeah, that was everything I had to say for the first book. So let's move on to the next. All right, let's talk about the Chambers of Secrets and the differences between the movie and the books. So first of all, we have at the beginning Dobby, who visits Harry to warn him about Hogwarts and going there. And just like in the movie and the book, Harry is getting in trouble because of the way Dobby is acting. What we don't have in the movie is that Harry's getting a letter from the Ministry of Magic about using magic outside of Hogwarts, which he hasn't done. It was only Dobby. But there is this letter, which is just a warning, which is kind of a foreshadowing because in a later book, Harry does get in trouble for using magic outside of school. But yes, then Harry's being picked up by Ron and the Weasleys to come to their house, the Burrow. There is a scene that's not in the movie, which is where Harry helps Ron and his brothers de-gnome the garden. So they pull gnomes out of the earth and the plants just like you would pull out weeds. So that's just a scene they didn't include, which I can understand, I guess. I want to say that when I watched the movies, I was watching the regular versions. I didn't watch the extended versions. So sometimes I'm comparing the regular movie with the book. Some information that may be in the book might be in the extended version, but not in the regular one, which is, for example, this one. When Harry goes to Diagon Alley with the Weasleys by Fleet Powder, he mumbles the words and says Diagon Alley instead of Diagon Alley. And he ends up in Nocturne Alley. In the regular version of the movie, Harry just leaves Nocturne Alley and reunites with his friends. In the book and in the extended version, however, he sees how Lucius Malfoy and Draco Malfoy enter this shady store and they ask the store owner if they can sell some of their possessions because the Ministry of Magic is starting to do some raids and they might get into trouble. So hinting at the book, the Tom Riddle's diary that he's going to give to Ginny. Then we have Gilderoy Lockhart, which, believe it or not, in the book, he's even more annoying than in the movie. The actor in the movie does a fantastic job of portraying him, but in the book we have a lot more scenes or comments that just really show his character, which of course they couldn't all include in the movie. All right, then we find something out in the book that's not told in the movie, which is that Filch, the housekeeper, is a squib. Squib means that you're the child of magical parents, but you yourself don't possess any magical powers. And Filch that's the case. That's the case for Filch. We don't learn about that in the movies at all, but that's why he basically never uses magic. All right. Then we have a scene in the book that's not in the movie, which is where Harry, Ron, and Hermione get invited to the nearly headless Nick's birthday or death day party. So it's the 500th anniversary of his death. And they go there and it's basically them and a bunch of ghosts. And it's then there that they meet the Moaning Myrtle for the first time. In the movie, we meet her for the first time in the bathroom, in the girls' bathroom. In the book, however, it's at that party. And by the way, it's after that party where Ron, Harry, and Hermione stumble into the writing on the wall that says, "The Chamber of Secrets has been opened." Harry gets the diary, Tom Riddle's diary, and talks to Tom Riddle. And in the book, their conversation is a little bit longer, but you essentially get the same information as in the movie, that basically he's framing Hagrid and says that he opened the Chamber of Secrets all those years ago. In the book, we also find out that Voldemort, or Tom Riddle, which used to be his name, used to be head boy prefect. And there's a trophy in the trophy room for him that says basically that he has done some special services to the school. So we don't really see that in the movie, and I'm wondering in the book why we have that trophy, why people never got rid of it, because if it's Voldemort, I wouldn't keep his trophy in the school. But there's also an explanation, which basically is that a lot of people don't know that Tom Riddle is Voldemort, because once Tom Riddle turned to the dark arts and changed his name, he also changed his appearance so much that he was basically not recognizable anymore. So that could be an explanation for that, but we don't see that in the movie. Then what I find really interesting is there's at one point where Ginny tries to tell Harry and Ron that she's responsible for the opening of the Chamber of Secret, but Percy stops her. And it's the same way as in the first one. In the second one, in the book, Percy plays a much bigger role than in the movie. He has more appearances. He's still just a side character, but he has more appearances. And he behaves oddly to a point where if I hadn't known the movie or hadn't known the storyline, I would have thought that he might be the one responsible for opening the Chamber of Secrets. So that's not in the movie again, it's just in the book, but you really get that suspicion if you don't know the story that he might be involved. But he isn't, he just has a girlfriend, which we later find out toward the end. Okay, then finally when we get to the Chamber of Secret and Harry is fighting the snake, the basilisk, and defends it, after that, he talks to Tom Riddle, and Tom Riddle is a lot more active than in the movie. He actually tries to fight Harry, which in the movie he doesn't do it, he just really talks. So Harry saves the day, we're back in Dumbledore's office, the Weasley parents are actually there and everybody's united. And this is where Dumbledore says that according to his sources, Voldemort is hiding in the forests of Albania, which I thought just neat that he kind of has a tap on Voldemort, which you don't know from the movies. Also, the last thing that's different is in the movie when Lucius Malfoy is basically being accused by Harry of having something to do with the diary, and when Harry gives Dobby the sock so he's free, Lucius Voldemort basically freaks out and he's swinging his wand and is saying the words Avada Kedavra, not fully, because Dobby stops him, but he's basically trying to kill Harry. Avada Kedavra is the death curse, right? In the book, that's not the case. He doesn't mumble the death curse. It's just in the movie. In the book, he's just upset and obviously talks to him, but he's not trying to kill him. And I'm not sure, don't quote me on this, but I think that it might have been the actor who portrays Lucius Malfoy who has improvised that part. I don't think it was in the script. All right, so that were the differences. A few other interesting facts I wanna point out is, so when Harry's in the Chamber of Secrets, talks to Tom Riddle, he shows him that I am Tom Riddle, Tom Marvolo Riddle is an anagram for I am Lord Voldemort. And the creators of the movie had to change Voldemort's name in other languages, or Tom Riddle's name, because the anagram didn't work anymore. So for example, in French, Tom Riddle is actually Tom Elvis Jedusor instead of Tom Marvolo Riddle, which means then Je suis Lord Voldemort. I thought that was neat. Also, the actress that plays the Moaning Myrtle, at the time of filming the movie, she was 37 years old. 37. And in The Goblet of Fire, she's 40 years. And she portrays this little girl, and she really looks like, I don't know, she's 13 years old. And in fact, she's 37. That really blows my mind. The last thing is that the movie, the first one and the second one, filming actually was only 3 days apart. So when they finished the first, they started filming the second one right away. And something I noticed is that Harry and Ron's voice is starting to change. So they're about to hit puberty. You can tell in some scenes that the voice is changing if you pay attention. And I think that was a problem for the filmmakers. They were thinking about maybe having some people doing the voiceover because the guy's voice was changing, but I don't think they had to in the end. But it's just something I noticed watching, and just slightly. Yeah, that was everything about Harry Potter 1 and 2. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know. Give the video some love, and if you enjoyed it, I would love to continue the series, maybe with the next 2 books until I have the whole Harry Potter series completed. I hope you heard something that you have not known before. I know hardcore Harry Potter fans know a lot of the theories and everything going on, but I hope I had something that you may not have heard before. I just wish you a great week. Stay healthy, stay safe, and bye-bye.